So I've been making these great little dragonflies out of stone beads, glass beads, and this gold, like 20 gauge, 24 gauge wire. I'm using my Cricut Maker 4 to cut out these dragonfly wings that I designed. So on the wings themselves, they're this sort of crocodilian PVC material. But within the center of those wings, there's two little dots that you can fold down, and they've got a little crease in the middle that the Cricut's cut out, so you can actually fold that down and then have the wire run through both sides of it. It sits right up against the rest of the beads in the dragonfly. So with this PVC vinyl, which did a pretty good job cutting out of the material. Even with a brand new blade, it still doesn't cut all the way through. It's pretty thick, but the blade itself still has a little bit of pull. One of the things I would say about using this PVC material, I just got it on Amazon. I'll make sure to put a link in the description for that. But the PVC material does not stick very well to pretty much anything that Cricut's made so far, even the heavy mat. So what I found works best is actually taking some masking tape and applying it to shorter strips of the material. So you cut it like 4 or 5 inches thick, or excuse me, 4 or 5 inches tall, and then you add masking tape to all 4 sides of that, and then you just do it in 2 chunks. So you can fit two of those strips on a 12 by 12, as long as there's masking tape in between all the edges. More Amazon beads. Really like these sort of iridescent colors in there. A lot of 2 beads in, pearl beads. And for a lot of these natural stone beads, I like to find something that's going to have a lot of contrast between the face and the eyes. And when you put them together, you get something pretty fun. I just want to try to find something that's got like an eye socket on either side. So something that's truly off center or off kilter won't really work, because then you won't be able to see the eyeballs. Trying to pull this thing in is sometimes pretty challenging. But using this 24 gauge wire and just sort of wrapping it around the backside, doing a little fold at the back of the head here, you can see that as you give it a little bit of a twist in the back, pardon my disgusting fingernails and these little scratches all over my fingers. If you give it a little bit of twist at the back end, you can see that it creates this great little face. And then usually what I'll end up doing is grabbing at least 1 bead to run through both ends of the wire as it's going up towards the head here. So it'll start to cover up some of the wraparound and that sort of twist in the wire itself, and it takes a little bit of an extra pull with your fingernail to sort of like get it up and over. Like, look at how cute this little guy is. I mean, come on. And then it's just time to peel off the extra masking tape. Once you rip it out of the larger sheet, sometimes it's got these little extra pieces you just got to peel off. Probably the most tedious part of this entire project is always cutting out these little holes out of the PVC plastic here. And I don't have my Cricut tweezers just yet, or my little sort of picker just yet, so I'm stuck using my little pliers here. Those 2 little holes, you can then thread the wire through, and then once the wire gets pulled through, you can set it through the other end of the wire too. So there's usually a short end and a long end, at least the way that I do it, just to try to save on a little bit of material. You don't need that much, because really all you need to do is make sure that the wire is long enough on the short side to get around the next stone bead that you add, and do a little twist at the back end of that, so that you can pull that part tight and then do a little twist and then add the tail beads on. And these middle beads are actually probably harder to find than the head beads, because the heads can be pretty unique, but these middle beads really need to be a particular size and have the orientation of the holes in the right way so that it actually sits correctly on, or I should say in between the wings of the dragonfly. So I really like this little black piece that I found right here. I just got, again, another Amazon purchase. It's like $9 for like 500, 400 of these things. Not all of them are gonna work, but the vast majority will work for something. So then just finding the right thread, making sure that the orientation of the stone is going to be correct when it gets settled in. So I'm twisting it here to make sure that the long way, or the long end of the stone is still facing towards the head and the tail. Otherwise it would just be a very tubby dragonfly. You know, I might try another thicker dragonfly later, but for this one at least I'm going to try and keep them nice and straight. And then weaving the wire back through the other side. So I usually start with the short wire through first, get it into position, and then take that long wire and pull that through the other end here. And then it's just a little bit of cinching up, because once you pull it taut, there's usually a little bit of a gap at the beginning of the stone before the rest of the wing PVC piece. So a little bit of an extra pull here and there helps to sort of set it in. You just want to make sure you're not pulling too hard so that you actually break the wire. And once you twist it on the back end once or twice, again, just sort of taking your fingers and pinching it around the back end there, it's really just finding an extra couple beads to cinch along the back side. So I'll usually start out with a round bead, and then either create some sort of design with these two beads, or a mix and match. And then once you get that last final bead on, I like to take a slightly larger bead at the end, because you want to make sure you can get all the way through with two thicknesses of the wire, because you're going to go around the outside of that bead and all the way back through it again to create that final cinch, which holds all the rest of the beads in place. So using your fingers to sort of pinch it at the front there, and then pulling with the tweezers at the end, and then just a final little snip, and here's the final product, a nice little cutie boy and all of his friends. And you just attach some floral wire to them. So tried it out on these other sheets of plastic. As you can see, the wings just start to slowly droop, especially in the sun.